what's being delivered isn't another understanding of the words. It's a sense, yeah? A sense of what you are and arriving at where you already are by seeing what you're not. That's the whole movement. It's not about, because I saw the failedness of trying to use what you are to look for what you are, yeah? Now, let's say if we were in a very hot room, it's really nice today. If we were in a very hot room and it was uncomfortable and there was people that we didn't like there and it was quite irritating, we could get up and leave, yeah? And then the effects would change because you left the cause. Yeah, the room was the cause of the effects. You left the cause, so now the effects aren't there. But that can't be applied to what you are. Yeah, you can't use what you are to find what you are. If that's what's happening, and this is the hypothesis of the talks, is we believe that is what's happening. There's an identification as what you're not, using what you are to seek for what you are, yeah? So if that's true, then what would be the new movement? Would it be keep trying to study about what you are, know what you are, learn about what you are, get advanced degrees in what you are, or seeing what you're not? Because if you are that already, the only thing that's confusing the situation is there's an act of being identified as what you're not. So let's just see what we're not, and in seeing what we're not, we'll find out what we are. Yeah? And it's like a different form of knowledge. It's not knowledge it's not something that's amassed or built up through quantitative, It's not like that. It's just basically you hit the buzzer, it rings, and then that's that in a sense. Something has been cleared up, and instead of looking to get rid of the obscuring agents in your life, you see you're the obscuring agent. Yeah, that's it. You just see you looking for what you are is obscuring that you are what you are. Yeah, that's what it's happening. And it can't do that because it's impossible, but it can seem to do that in time. Yeah, so something that isn't so can appear to be so in time. Yeah, time is it's the concoction of the magic trick. Yeah, so in time, impossible shit can seem to be possible. I'm separate, I can be hurt, I can be unloved, what I mean? All these things that are impossible, when there's an identification as this, in time, they seem to be possible. There's a lot of people who they're in a storm of mental suffering based on feeling disconnected. Yeah, but how can you be disconnected from what you are if what you are is at all times what you are, everywhere, whatever? It's an insane idea that you can be disconnected, and then that idea is taken to be true, so now you seek connection, which basically reinforces the reality of being disconnected. Yeah, you can't get out of it. Yeah, you getting out of it is part of the thumb torture. It's what tightens everything up. You can't, all right, I want it to get loose and still be there. No, it doesn't work. If you're there, it's tightened up. If you as what you're not's there, that's the tightening. If you're waiting patiently, and at a certain point very impatiently, for it to lighten up, you're going to be waiting a long fucking time. Because you're the obscuring agent. You see it? It's just so simple. It's just, you're seeing already, there's just a form of blinders on. So you just question the blinders. You don't have to increase seeing. You don't. You don't have to polish it up. You don't have to direct it and concentrate it. All you got to do is maybe see that what's taken to be your view isn't your view. It's just it's a myopic view based on lenses, mental, fucking emotional lenses. And the seeing goes through there, enters into this dreaming of time, and now the seeing is taken as a form of looking, which is the act of blindness to the seeing. Yeah. So you can't use the blind version of seeing to look for seeing. It blinds you that you are the seeing. Yeah. So it's me looking. I'm looking for the truth, and I could get a lot of blog followers. Yes. Oh, good. So am I. How are you doing? I don't know. It seems far, far away. I got close once. It was on another continent, usually, Tibet or somewhere. India. It can't be in Newark or Hoboken. It's got to be somewhere exotic. I could feel it there. Yeah. All right. Good. You can run tons. Now it's a spiritual travel blog. Yeah. Because obviously spirituality demands traveling. There's a certain requirements. You got to be in India once. India. You got to have a little resume to convince yourself, really. You're not convincing anything else. You're just convincing yourself. Yeah. I'll let myself be okay if I really work hard at something. Yeah. So I'm going to sit for 13 hours a day, change my perceptions. Yeah. Not eat any food. Of course I'm going to have hallucinations. But I'm going to think they're of a spiritual variety. You know, I'm seeing the mandala move. Yeah, you haven't eaten. You've been drinking like watered down soup at 10:30 in the morning, meditating 13 hours. You've lost 20 pounds in 21 days. The body is having experiences that you're calling spiritual, mystical ones. They're all derived of the body. You know, if you stay up a long time and don't eat and stare at shit, they're gonna move. There's going to be a lot of moving, you know, and then, wow, the narrative will catch up. Oh, I saw the earth move under my feet. Yeah, sure. But then you leave, and then, the whole thing regroups. It's like you can't break the thermostat, and you can send the mercury to the ends of the earth. It comes back. It just regroups. It does. Because you're it. Yeah, this is the thing. We can't seem to go over any mathematical equations without us being seen as the primary number. See, we're living a mathematical equation based on the primary number being 1, when the primary number is 0. Really. Yeah. So now the 1 is trying to, let's say it tried to add on to itself. All right, now it's learned that doesn't work, so let's subtract from itself, but it's just 1. Yeah. The 1 is the primary number. 0 is, 0 never runs out, You can't put enough shit into 0 to make it something else. It's just an unbelievable different type of neutrality that 1 will never be able to experience. You can't, because it wants to experience it as 1. Yeah? And it's not of 1. Two-ness is of 1. Yeah? It's weird. When there's this 1, it's based on two-ness, yeah? If you just look at your day, look at it. You've got the eyes and ears to see and hear. There's a great Zen master, Huang Po. He says, not now, he's not here, 1200s, I guess. Don't go looking for him. I hope he's speaking tonight in San Francisco. No. It's just Huang Po. And he said, hey, whatever can be perceived, all right, so look around. Whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Oh, that saves a lot of trouble, really, a lot of time. Wait a minute, whatever can be perceived can't be that which is perceiving. Okay, so I'm perceiving you, yeah, this body, so you're off the Game Boy. You're not the perceiving. This is a perceived, yeah? So if you just listen to a little snippet of the daily narrative, it's assuming, yes, that the body is what's perceiving. Why do you don't have to go to, master classes of Buddhism. Just get the basics, all right? That which there seems to be an incredibly intent, devoted listening to is premised on a fallacy from the view of Huang Po. You may not like Huang Po, I do. So I take him, it sounds true, and it hits me, it feels true, yeah? So whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Listen to one's head, it's based on the exact opposite premise. The whole narrative is based on it's you that's seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, which are the perceivings, yeah? So, all right, why go to page 58? Just go there. Okay. So, all right, so, okay, maybe that happens. You get an understanding of that. So then you go, wow, then obviously, which happened to me, the biggest problem is identification as a body. So now I'm going to start chanting, I'm not a body. You know, there's a great lesson in the Course in Miracles. I'm not a body, I am free, for I am just as God created me or something. So I would do that for a couple hours, you know, in a day. I felt that's the problem. I'm identified as a body, but it was a body saying it was identified as a body. The only thing that wants to get out of the body is the body. So there I am chanting, I'm not a body. What was it actually doing? It was reinforcing the idea that I was a body. Now, while I was chanting, I had the opposite feeling. I thought it was advancing my escaping from the body, but as the body. You know what I mean? Like a better body. Whatever. Yeah? Or a subtler body. This is a gross body. There's got to be a subtler body. I'm going to go identify with that. So the body wants to get out of being a body. Why wouldn't it? It's sort of a drag sometimes. Yeah, you have a date, you're smelling, halitosis, tons of shit can happen that can affect your desires and your agendas. Yeah, really. It's like, and then it's going to end anyway, and it seems to naturally, you know, get more slovenly and whatever. You got to keep an eye. When you start losing your eyes, big hairs start growing out of places. You need to have someone with 20/20 really do a physical review. Paul, you got these things here. They don't even meet the beard. They're just the fucking encampment away. You got to get rid of, you know, you're looking. I mean, so, all right. Whatever can be perceived can be perceiving. Let's end it there. Yeah, we start there. All right. So that means, hey, that narrative should be cast into suspicion. Yes, wouldn't you? I mean, really, if the whole premise is just been eradicated by one statement, and it doesn't matter the 50th degree. It's what it's based on. It's the theme. Yeah, it's the systemicness of it. It's failed. Yeah. So if there is a reliance on memory, the memory pictures you as a body. If there's reliance on thought, the thoughts are used to picture you as a body that's the thinker of the thoughts. Somehow you are generating the thoughts, you know? So when they're bad, you feel guilty. When there's, let's say, sexual, you try to hide them in a little thought, you know, special file. You don't want to let everyone know that. Then at late night, the dark web you're on. Yeah, and all this. But they're all owned, yeah, and they're owning you, aren't they really? So if there's a reliance on memory, the assumption is that I'm a body, yeah? Not just that I'm a body, but the subjectiveness, the awareness, or what you want to call it, the consciousness, has now somehow been attributed to the body. So this is the duality of this place, or the dualism, which is the subject-object is mixed up. Like the light's coming through, but you think it's the camera that's producing the light, yeah? The light comes through the camera, but the camera isn't the source of the light. Yeah, it's just a simple correction. You just see it. Just few minutes during the day, it would verify itself. All right, yeah, there's something coming through, but it doesn't start here, you know? It's not like Made in Paul gets stamped everywhere. So, all right. So, the thought system, the perceptions, what are these things? What do the eyes see? They see things, yeah? And they attribute the seeing to a thing. So the things reinforce that there's a thing seeing the things. Yeah? This is what you need to understand. You don't need to understand it. It's just a way of getting through the first few mail slots, because, you know, you've been served the spiritual subpoena already. You're just coming here. You're just coming back to the court to be reminded. But you've been served it, just like I was served it. Yeah. When something is true, it has a certain gripability It doesn't need glue, yeah? It has a binding quality, but it doesn't need to be bound, yeah? It's like an unspoken yes, put your money on it. Right? If you put on these shoes and then they fit, wear them, yeah? And then again, Huang Po, another beautiful statement was, you can't use, and then just tell me, what would it be appropriate to Huang Po to say this to Claude, to Paul, to Nick? Yeah? You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You can't use mind to seek mind. You can't use light to seek light. Yeah? Now, the only appropriate audience to that statement would be the Buddha, yeah? Mind and light. So Huang Po wasn't trying to talk to Claude about the Buddha. He was trying to get through the obscuring that Claude is to the Buddha. In other words, the Buddha is all there is, yeah? Claude is an appearance that has to have time to appear in and space, and it's a finite little adventure. Yeah, there's something way, way larger that's always available at all times, and your apparatus can't pick it up. Yeah, because you are it. Yeah, you can't turn the studying on that which is studying. Yeah, it would still be, yes, it's impossible. All right. So he's obviously didn't see you as Doug. He didn't see you as Bill. He was seeing you as Buddha. And he was attempting to tell Buddha, hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. Yeah? You can't use mind, big mind, to find mind. You can't use light to find light. You can use, because there's mind, Buddha, and light, you can use it to find a pair of pants. You can use it to get a good latte. You can use it to get a date maybe on Match.com. You can use it for thousands of fucking things, but you can't apply it to it, yeah? You can't use yourself to find yourself. Now, and it's not confusing at all. It's only confusing when there's a mistaken self there. So when you hear you can't use the Buddha, and you're hearing it as Paul, you go, what? I've been practicing Buddhism for 30 fucking years. You're just pulling that thing from out of me. And then you believe they're right, but there's no living to it, so you fuck Buddhism, but you're really screwed. Yeah? No, it wasn't meant for Nick. It was meant for the Buddha. Yeah? Nick thinking you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't. Buddha, if you talk to Nick about Buddha, it doesn't go anywhere. I've done it for years. I've seen it. It wasn't the intention, but as it came here, it got switched as soon as it hit the ears over there, that it was turned into Nick's hearing about non-Nick or something. Yeah, that's not it. So here, you're sharing to the Buddha about Nick, not to Nick about the Buddha. You're fucking with Nick. Basically. You know Nick has its limitations, so if you put a lot of mail into the slot gets full, and then the system stops for a second. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to put one letter in and go, take some breaths, because the system will regroup. Or let's take a pause. No fucking way. You want to keep stuffing the fucking metaphors in there until the system can't take it. It can't take anymore. Yeah, that's the point. So now the system has a pause, but something continues when the system pauses, and it's quite revelatory. The system gets overwhelmed. I thought I understood what he said, but then he said, and they're writing notes or something. Fuck all the notes. It doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, actually it will, because they never make the second page. They just fuck this. I never see them bring the notepad the second time. Never. I've never seen them. So you're whacking with the hopes that the system, and then something gets through to the Buddha. Yeah, and then the Buddha hears, hey, you can't use yourself to find yourself. It makes total sense. Yeah. So what happens? It loses interest in the pantomime of the Buddha, aka Paul, trying to use itself to find the Buddha. It loses interest in it. It may still have a little life. It usually dies sooner or later. Maybe it has like 50 extra breaths, but it's going to run out. You're not breathing any more interest and attention to it. So it comes to a halt, and then you really get the sense, hey, you are what you've been looking for. Therefore, what the fuck with the looking for it? If I am what I've been looking for, and the looking for it as I am is the obscuring agent, well, I can't seem to convince the system it's not the system, so let's just stop, let it get reconfigured, rearranged, and it will. Yeah? And now a new basis will be in place. The horse will be in front of the cart instead of the horse behind the cart. Yeah? Things will make sense. You won't be spending time looking for what you already are. You won't, some absurd shit that we believe gets thrown right out. Like the idea that you are basically out of the moment and your purpose in life is to get into the moment. That's totally insane. Yeah. All that in and out is in the moment. It can't go anywhere. So basically, let's get clear. You can't be out of any moment, ever. Yeah. Doesn't matter what your doctor up here says. You can't get out of any moment. Without you, there's no moment. Yeah? All right? So now, man, you look like you're in the moment. I know I may look like I'm in the moment, but I didn't arrive here through any thought or effort. I arrived here because I can't be out of the moment. So this doesn't have much exertion. I don't need towels, concentration, vigilance. I'm always being blown into the other moments. No, it's all made up. You're the spaciousness of it. All this shit's happening in it. Yes? Nothing is happening. Nothing is imposing its will on what we are. It's all this activity in what we are. Yeah. So what happens? And then the idea of self as the boogeyman, most people when they hear the word self, they think of ego. That's not what we're talking about. The ego to me is an objectification of selfing by selfing. But the self that I'm speaking of is the feeling of being the doer, the sense of being the doer, the thinker, the taster, and that feeling is produced by selfing. Yeah, the claiming of doing to imply the doer produces a sense that we claim to be us. Yeah. So the doing is claimed to imply the doer. When the doer is taken to be so, then the doer thinks it's the one doing the doing. Yeah, see it? It's such a weird move. So the doing, without doing, there'd be no doer. Yeah? And there's tons of doing without a doer. But there's no doer without doing. But there's tons of doing without a doer. You see? We just got it off a little bit. We think the primary important is the doer, but it isn't. The doer is an afterthought by the claiming of the mental processes to imply when there's doing, there must be a doer. Yeah? So the doing, the seeing, the feeling, the tasting, the touching, the smelling, all those things are happening, and obviously most of it is in any kind of field of volition on our part. Is there? No. Yeah. So there's doing, and even when you're a baby, if you watch a baby, they're just in the verbing. The noun hasn't been presupposed, has it? No, they're just there, doing, shitting, feeling, tasting, touch, just wild. Yeah, but it's very attractive, seemingly to us. So here's the doing, and then the doing is claimed to imply the doer, and then suddenly the noun that was presupposed, is presupposed to be before. So now you think you're the doer. You think you're the seer. You thinking you're the feeler. I'm telling you, if you're starting on that square, you're never going to get to the get out of jail, get out of spiritual jail free card, square. You're not. Yeah. It's not going to happen. These little hiccups in the beginning will echo throughout your endeavors, yeah? If you're casting a shadow, that shadow will follow you from then on. It's just the way it goes. So if you can get to the basic conditions and see, because that's the quality that has not been fucking touched, not all. The seeing has not been tuned up by what you did or didn't do. It's not, you know what I mean? All that's made up. The seeing is pristine and brilliant. It's untouchable. I'll use the idea of the camera. This is one of my favorite ones. The Brownie camera, cheap old camera in America. I was actually implying something else. It was a thing you'd buy at a store. It only had one reel of film. It was a cardboard box. You use it, and then you bring it back in. You never get the box back. They just give you pictures. It was like a couple bucks. But it had like a plastic lens, and basically you just pointed and hoped, really. You couldn't really even see. You just got, all right, hope that you caught what you were wanting to picture. Yeah? So, and all right, so there's that. And then there's this beautiful, unbelievable 360-degree swivel tripod HD camera with fucking surround sound, everything. And it's walking around on its mobile tripod, sees the thing, let's say the Brownie. It's curious, looks into the Brownie. When it's looking into the Brownie, it forgets that it's the big camera. And now suddenly it thinks it's the Brownie camera. Yeah? So now it has this sense of things could be better, but basically it's seeing, it's through a plastic lens. So it's saying, oh fuck, so it tries to better the Brownie. So it buys like a $2,000 Nikon lens, but sticks it on the plastic. It doesn't matter how good the lens is if the plastic is the first lens. The plastic is going to override all the add-ons, yeah? So now you're saddled with like $8,000 of lenses, and you're still feeling quite irritable, restless, discontent. And then how to get out of, I just want to be less of a Brownie or a better Brownie, or I want to find, there must be an authentic Brownie that has glass, whatever. But you're confined by the identification with the Brownie. You can't entertain being free from it, so you're entertaining being free as it, yeah? This is the bondage. So the large camera is bound to the Brownie by being identified as the Brownie. It's not bound to the Brownie. Hasn't been, screwed into it or nothing. Yeah? It's just can't entertain the possibility of freedom from it because it's taken itself to be it. That's the whole dilemma here. Yeah? We want to be free, yeah, but we want to be free as this, or through this, or by this. Yeah? So we think freedom has to be with a lot of doing because it's the freedom of a doer, yeah? So if it's the freedom of a doer, there's got to be a lot of doing involved. If it's the freedom of a creature made in time, there's going to be a lot of anxiety that the freedom may not last. Because I'm feeling really good today, but I may not be tomorrow, yeah? So you've got a lot of hazards concerning freedom when you're seeing it through the lens of the Brownie, yeah? So we're just correcting that. This is what happened with me. I saw I wasn't the Brownie. First I was going to talks and they kept describing me as that incredible fucking 360-degree camera. But it was making life as a Brownie even worse. I mean, fucking stop talking to me of what I am because I don't feel that at all during the day. Oh, your consciousness. It just didn't make sense. No, that's not working. Then I finally felt the right direction was in place, which is Ramana Maharshi saying, hey, there's this presupposing of this non-existent thing. What's the presupposing of the non-existent thing? That is existing, yeah? So the subjectness is mixed up with the object. So you think the thing is self-existing, which is totally against Buddhism 101. Everything is inherently empty. No, not me. This is Paul. Yeah? I love emptiness. But so, I'm going to need sunscreen. I didn't want to get sun, but I keep forgetting that. Whatever. So, where was I with that? No one's listening.
Paul likes emptiness.
Oh, the Paul likes emptiness, yeah. So, this is... You got the gist. I'm losing it now. The sun's beating me as a thing. So there's this Yeah, let me see the hat. Thanks. All right. We're at the trucker convention. This would go well there. You know that semi-rig? There's no semi-rig. So this happened with me. I was going to go to the Ramana. The presupposing a non-existent thing. Let's say that's the existent thing. Yeah? So suppose or assume means you're assuming something's so, but it may not be. Yeah? There's not much heavy investigation or evidence. You're just assuming, like happens with me and my girlfriend a lot. We assume a store's open, and then we drive there, and it isn't open. We could have called up, but we said, no, I know it's open. Then we drive, and then it's not open. So now, oh, it's too much to call. Let's just drive. All right. You know? But there's an assuming that the store's open when it's not open. Yeah? Nothing to do with the store. It was just my assumption. So supposing is the same thing. I'm supposing something that it's not even true. Yeah? So it says, but in this case, he used the word, or the people who wrote it, used the word pre, which is very important because that's of time, right? Pre means before something, yeah? So it says, so there's a supposing, but the supposing is a presupposing. It's tricky. So the mental state is supposing that the non-existent thing is existing, yeah? And when it does, it presupposes that. So when it says you're existing as the body, it says you've been existing as a body for a long fucking time, and then you're gonna be existing as a body, yeah? So it remembers itself as a body through the past and the future. That's the presupposing. It's sort of like when the fish finally takes the bait, it feels like a fish, and then it feels like a historical fish. As soon as the bait and this consciousness or mind, they meet, and then the bait implies there's a fish, and then when it's implied the fish is a historical fish. You feel like you've been Paul for 50 years. Yeah? It's all made up. It's an incredible move. So the presupposing of this non-existent thing being existing, and then wanting to get salvation for itself. Yeah, for sure. Because you're going to feel probably irritable, restless, discontent. I don't know about you. A huge burden here is time. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's almost like an obligation, especially in our society. You got to look like you're on, fucking an action figure all day. What did I do? Oh, we went to brunch. I did some, sail gliding, and then there's another day ahead. You got to keep fucking proving something, I guess. I don't know. It's slavery to me. Yeah? Yeah, so there's this presupposing a non-existent thing, wanting to get salvation. It makes sense if you're an existent thing that's irritable, restless, discontent, and that irritability is being caused by outside fucking circumstances, situations, but that's not true. So he says, being convinced of this non-existent thing, wanting to get salvation for it. If this is the case, your spiritual practices themselves, this is the rub, are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? That definitely put an end to my spiritual life, that statement. It did, really. Because it fit. I was guilty immediately. I've been trying to get out of me as me since I've been 6 years old. I've tried a lot of different vehicles, drug addiction, fucking surfing, fucking spirituality, drug addiction, a lot of, there aren't that many vehicles, but I kept getting in one and getting out and getting in the other one. And I realized, just through observation, that the system I'm relying on, it has a failed programming. And that programming is, it doesn't get self, can't get out of self. It thinks that it's going to escape itself as itself, yeah? So if one vehicle doesn't work, it doesn't stop and, have a sober assessment. It just gets into another vehicle, spirituality, with the same intent, trying to get out of itself as itself. And then it tries something else. And then hopefully the accumulated knowledge of observation reaches a critical mass, and there's that 100 monkey phenomena where the mind gets it. You know, I'm never getting out of me as me, ever. Yeah? So I'm open to suggestions. Everything has failed miserably. And I'll tell you, I swear, I can't say I did everything I could in spirituality, but in drug addiction I did. I didn't, but I was taken as pretty much as far as you can go with drug addiction. And I gave it my all. I tried to kill myself numbers of times with drugs with the hopes that the second before my body died, I would be there fucking free for at least a second, because all I wanted to do was get out of what I thought I was in, and I was willing to overdose, clinically, really, so I could shoot coke and then rush out, and with the hopes that it would taunt my mind, my head, and it would snap, and I'd still be there, and I'd have at least just a second or two. And I did it many times, really, set up, overdoses. So I came back out of all that, and in hindsight, I realized you can't escape from an imaginary place, especially as an imaginary thing. Try as you might, it's not going to work. So what are you going to do? I don't know. In AA we have this thing, maybe it's applicable here, which is being convinced. If you want to pray for anything, I'd pray for that. Just being convinced. And I was convinced thoroughly that this system isn't going to get out of this system completely. It was a very rude awakening, but it was a very helpful awakening. Yeah? Because we're already awake, but that awakeness needed a rude awakening. Yeah? To sort of be able to shake off what it's not. Yeah? Instead of fucking grooming it all day. Shake it off and just, yeah. And then acceptance flooded in, and a lot of things that were never available since I was young. Because if this is me, it should be better, It's like an urban renewal project that never gets canceled. But as soon as I saw I was not this, not in a denial, but in a negative way, it was acceptance of it, yeah? This has got this is like a Toyota, not a chariot of the gods, yeah? Utilitarian, gets me here, gets me to coffee, pretty much. Can still walk upstairs. If you see that you're polishing the awareness is the obscuring of it, fuck. And that big head that's blocking the movie is yours. Yeah. So stop yelling for fucking someone to sit down. It's you. And just there you go. I should have asked for this hat a long time ago. See, this is the thing. This action figure was an addict for quite a while. It learned to put up with tons of shit. Yeah, it did. I saw it once. It was a very weird example, but I was just sober, newly sober, and I took a massage. I went to massage school. Figure I should do something. And we were having it in San Anselmo in the summer, and we were in this like nice church sort of like class place, a white building, and we were working on each other, and I was working on a very heavy set person. It was difficult, yeah, because it was like their skin was like asphalt and Phoenix in the summer. He's going in, and everyone was sweating. It was super fucking hot. And then I'm looking around, massaging, and I see in this room all these fans. And the alcoholicness rose up and wasn't going to say anything. Oh, just like always. Like when my right arm was bleeding out there, I would just look left. Just fucking leave it hanging. But no, I said, hey, can we put the fans on? Yeah, that was a huge leap to the action figure. The action figure learned, because it's adaptable like a cockroach, yeah? But the adaptability may go too far. Maybe you're adapting to shit you don't need to adapt to, yeah? Maybe it's time to sort of allow life to be a little bit different in regards to you. Yeah, and I found that's what the AA program did for me. It corrected the action figure, and it keeps correcting it because it can be corrected. To apply that to what I am would be obscuring it. Yes, you see, I don't believe that you have a spiritual condition, and I don't believe there's any spiritual malady. I believe all there is spirit. Yeah, tell you the truth. Yeah, and I don't think I have to. And all the doing to be more spiritual is declaring that you're less spiritual in a sense. I just don't see it working. Yeah, so let the AA program work on what it's built to work on. Yeah, and then realize that what you call, let's say, the higher power is always available at all times, right where you are, with no requirement necessary to meet it. You are it. You can't be anywhere other than where it is. Yeah. Yeah. And then see what happens. How are you?
Very well, and Jerry, I'm good.
Nice to see you, Joe. Sorry, we're ending now. We started at 11:15.
Well,
We have the meeting at about 11:20. Yeah, we're ending now. But we welcome you. Well, this is not even a AA meeting it's more of a workshop.
Okay.
Yeah. But there'll probably be, I don't know when the next meeting here is. I think it's at 5:30 tonight. But we have books and everything, recovery books in there. I'll talk to you after. Yeah? Let's just say one thing. There's a solution.
I know that we had 8 years old, 2 years old, once a month. That's the
So how are you doing now?
not real good.
Yeah.
Just got a hot.
Yeah, turn this off.